Guys, what's up? What is going on out there today? Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. I'm starting a new series in the Tennis Mindset Project, and the title of the series is Mental Toughness Isn't This. And so far, I got 7 different topics that I'm going to run by you of what I've experienced in my game over the decades, where I was trying to figure out, well, what is mental toughness? And I'm going to tell you in each one of these parts, this was obviously part one, what I think it isn't and what I think it is instead in relation to each part in terms of what I don't think it is. So look, uh, we're going to kick this series off with the zone, right? You got to find the zone, and to me, I could never really make that tangible. The zone, I just couldn't really wrap my head around it, other than it was just some dreamy state that you found that, everything just flowed and there was no thinking and there was just totally playing by instincts. And it was just this free flowing thing. And so I tried it, never really could figure it out. Couldn't figure out if it was proactive, if it was whatever. I read a lot about it, studied it, and tried different things, but really never discovered what the zone was. I mean, certainly there have been a lot of times when I've been feeling like, you know what, I just can't miss. Everything's kind of going my way today. I've got no worries. I've got no concerns. I mean, this guy over there is good, but I'm just not fighting the game at all. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But it wasn't like a letting go, right? It wasn't like a complete letting go of just let anything come to me, whatever comes to me, um, you know, whatever. And what I've discovered is finding the so-called zone is really, there's some thinking going on. There's some proactive thinking going on. And it's really just kind of the right messaging that you're giving yourself. Now, maybe this has worked differently for someone else, but for me, the only way I've ever played at the very top of my skill level over and over and over again in points, in games, in sets, in matches, even in tournaments, has really been a proactive exercise in terms of making sure that I'm telling myself the right stuff over and over and over again. So I want to, if you're getting some kind of advice that, well, you got to play, to really play well, you got to find the zone. And so what I'm going to tell you is that, well, if they've got it, it must be $1 million deal because um, I certainly don't have it, and I really don't think anyone else has got it. I really believe it's a proactive thing, meaning that it's self-messaging, it's self-talk, and a lot of it is kind of handling those days when things aren't going great, right? I mean, look, when we're playing well, and it's typically against an opponent that maybe is not up to our standard, not up to our level, and we're playing well and we're feeling great. Um, but against someone who's right there at your level, whatever that rating label is right now, in theory, you're going to win 50% of the time, and you're not going to win 50% of the time, right? If you guys had the exact same rating label. So there's a lot of problem solving going on in those times that you're winning. And there's a lot of times when you're not winning where maybe that guy over there is doing a better job today of problem solving than you are. Whatever. But to say that it's just that you go find this heavenly little zone and you're there and now you're going to beat anybody in the world, um, I'm not a believer of that at all. So look, here's what I am going to tell you. I think that what happens between points, which is 80% of the match on average, 75 to 80% of the time we're playing a match, singles or doubles, we're not playing tennis, right? It's those in between points time and it's on the side change time. That comprises a huge majority of the match. And so if you manage that time really well, and for me, managing means Am I giving myself the same consistent good messaging in between points? Am I giving myself the same good, consistent messaging um, on side changes? And I'm not saying this is like, well, you got to be Mr. Positive, right? Power of positive thinking. To me, that gets a little, and I'm going to do that in a different part. I'm not sure what part number it's going to be in this series, but just to kind of give you a heads up, I no longer believe that that the power of positive thinking as opposed to the power of negative thinking um, is really the way to go. I think we need to be in between. We need to do some neutral thinking. And I think when you get in between those two, what happens is you have clarity and you are much more aware about what's going on in the match. And the classic question is, well, who's doing what to whom? And if you have got that figured out, if you know what to do against this specific opponent in singles or this specific team in doubles, and it's always different. I mean, it's always different in terms of opponents. I mean, maybe you could categorize certain, opponents into certain boxes over here and that kind of thing. Okay, you get that from experience. But then you add on the different conditions of the match. The conditions meaning, is it just stinking hot out there today? Have you already played a match today and you're tired and you got to figure something out? Is it super windy? Did they put you out in a court where you're back in the parking lot next to the car that the guy forgot that his alarm's going off and something super annoying is going on. Another condition, are you playing next to a couple of guys who are going crazy over there? They're just screaming and yelling at each other, right? And there's a lot of factors that um, play into self-messaging that are going to knock you out of the so-called zone. And I think the best place to work from in terms of self-messaging and being proactive with what you're telling yourself is from a place that's in between positive and negative thinking. Positive thinking is probably better, a lot better than negative thinking. Negative thinking to me is a recipe for making an excuse for what, things are not going right today, and just building a story that after the match, if you don't win, okay, now you got the story excuse already built. That stuff's not great. I've been there before. It doesn't work. Well, it does work. It does work in terms of kidding yourself what went wrong today. But I think on the other hand, that positive thinking too much ratchets up the emotions too much. I mean, both of those things, the power of negative thinking and the power of positive thinking, are emotional states, I think. And if you get too high on either one of those, I just think it fogs up the clarity in terms of who's doing what to whom, right? What do you need to do in this upcoming point? What do you need to do to start this next upcoming point? What is this guy doing that is causing you problems? All right, what can we now do tactically or strategically to change that? And I just think if you get too wrapped up in emotions, either negative and or positive, it's not a great place to operate from. So I got a little off topic here with the zone, but just kind of wrap it up. I just I just think that this exercise in terms of God, you got to find the zone to play well. You got to find that place where everything just flows and it's instinctive and there's no thinking and there's no worries and there's no concern. And you don't have to think about tactics. You don't have to think about that guy over there. And I just think that's a bunch of crap. I just don't believe in that. So I just think it's way more proactive in terms of thinking. And in upcoming parts of this series, the mental toughness isn't this. I'm gonna lay it on you. And this is all my stuff, right? I'm not saying that this is all theory. I mean, some of it might be, but for me, this is all reality. This is what I've been through. I mean, I went through decades of just underperforming because, wow, I mean, I just was a mental midget from the total negative side of getting pissed off, of getting angry, of screaming and yelling, of chucking rackets, of breaking rackets, of just doing anything that would, I don't know. It was just the worst. And so I've been to that side. I lived in that side of the the non-mental toughness, the baby boy, the total mental midget. I lived in that area for a long time. And I could beat someone who wasn't very good and thought I was mentally tough. But when it got to where someone was right there, my level or a little bit better, oh baby, it was not a pretty scene. So I've learned over the years the mental stuff, and I'm telling you right now where I am is I'm a complete 180 in terms of mental toughness from what I used to be to what I am now. And there's no question. I mean, 2023, I'm recording this the end of 2024, but in 2023, I mean, it was an insane year for anybody. Ask anyone out there in terms of winning national titles, singles and doubles, winning a world doubles title, getting ranked one in the world, getting ranked one in the U.S. It doesn't happen too often, and so for me, it was a 180 from what it used to be back in the day to what it was in 2023 to really having command of the right messaging for mental toughness. And had my strokes changed? Not at all. My fitness changed? Not at all. Had my mental, the way that I self-talked to, it totally changed. And it wasn't a quick fix. It wasn't overnight. This thing took some time to build, some habits to build, but which anyone can do. If you've not picked up my mindset training course, there's 5 habits in there I've got that anyone can build these habits, and it will put you in a mindset in matches to where you have clarity and you have focus and you have this resilience when things aren't going well in matches. And look, I mean, let's be honest. Someone can try to sell you oh, here's a magic bullet for getting in the zone. But I mean, you might find yourself playing a couple of points once in a while where there's no thinking, everything's perfect, but to stay there, I'm not a believer. I'm just not a believer. So anyway, a lot of yakking here today. Hope this has made sense. Look, guys, if you've not picked up my 4 parts between points system yet, it's a free 9-minute video, and it's a big deal. I mean, it's really a big deal. Like I said earlier, about 80% of the time, 75 to 80% of the match, we're not playing points during the match. It's just in between points and on side changes. And what I've found over the years is that if the self messaging is consistent and it's the right messaging during 80% of the match, you tend to have clarity. You tend to have focus and make the right shot choices and make the right court positioning changes during the point consistently so that you're always playing at the match at the very top of your skill level, whatever that is right now. And I've always believed that's how you move up to the next skill level is that you build confidence in wherever you're at right now, in that that, well, God dang it, if you're a 3-5, let's say, for example, you can play up to like a 3-7 sometimes, that area in between 3-5 and 4-0, right? But the reason you're a 3-5 is because not only can you play up there, say around a 3-7 or 3-8, but there's lots of times when you're playing down around a 3-3 or a 3-2. And so your 3-5 is an average of your skill level top to bottom range. And once you start consistently playing up at that 3-6, 3-7 level to where you now trust that in the next upcoming point, that's where you're going to be playing, that's where real confidence is built. That's where real mental toughness is built because you realize that, okay, there's a chance that, I might dip down to a 3-5 or 3-4 level for a moment here. That's okay. I'm not worried about that because I know that with my self messaging in between points, what am I going to do? I'm going to consistently be playing at the top of my skill level there. And once you do that, that's over time when you get that really, really narrow skill level, always playing at the very top where you are. That's when you move up to the next skill level rating. If you're 3-5 up to 4-0, 4-0 to 4-5, and so on. So anyway, hope this has been helpful. Look, guys, I want you to get this video if you've not done so. It's free. All you got to do is there's a link down below in the comments area, down below in the description area. Click it, drop in your first name, your email address, and you will get immediate access to that free 9-minute course training video that talks about what are the specific 4 parts between points routine and you know what they are and how to practice them, how to discipline them, how to habituate them so that there you go. Guys, hope this has been helpful today. Let me know down below in the comments area. I know this has been a lengthy video. If you got this far into it, well done. Congratulations. But let me know what's on your mind. Any comments, any questions, remarks, feedback. Always love to read your stuff and respond. And as always, it's time. We've got to get out there today. Got to help someone else have a great day, guys. See you again in the next part of I will take you back here of the next. Where do we go? Oh, here we are. Yeah, in the next part of the mental toughness isn't this, guys. I'll see you then.